Let's try and get past this log without falling in the creek or the creek. Okay, let's see. It's Sunday. We're in Shingletown, Pennsylvania. It's part B, the video, spiritual landscape photography. Finally, we're in the woods. Today we're going to take a photograph or two. I want to step you through the steps, or walk you through the steps. Okay, so landscape or spiritual photography can be a little bit different than other types of photography because you're shooting from the heart. So the rules are different, or the process is a little different. You've already watched video A, so you've learned that you have to quiet yourself down, start a half hour early before you arrive at the site. Now that we're here, it's going to be a little bit more of the same. Put the camera down in a tripod, or put the camera back in your pocket if you're using your cell phone camera. Because we're going to relax, we're going to walk around the site and see what speaks to us. Here come some people. Come on, come and be in my video. What's your name? Yusham? Yep. I'm Paul. Paul.
Enjoy.
Okay. So you put the camera down, forget about the photograph for a second. Be quiet on the inside. Turn up the volume on all the senses. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to walk around the area right here. I'll pan the camera a little bit so you can get an idea of where we are. And without thinking about a photograph, I'll just be quiet, and I'll see if anything jumps out. Okay, I cheated a little bit. I was looking around here before I turned the camera on. So I already knew there was a photograph over here somewhere. Okay. So you wait for the inspiration, the feeling that this photograph. Alright, let's talk about some nuts and bolts. So here's a spot. Somewhere over here is my photograph. And we see in binocular vision, so when we look out into the landscape, we're seeing in 3 dimensions. We see the XY plane, like on a computer screen, and also we have depth that you become automatic. You don't even realize it. So this tree here that's close to me is, my mind knows that it's close, but it doesn't really do anything with information. If I take a photograph that contains this right here, using my hands as a frame, this is the picture edge. I'm going to simulate a camera. Okay. So I'm dropping the frame down, the thumbs are the bottom part of the frame, the right and left edges of the frame of the photograph. Making the photograph of my mind. Okay. In order to convert from 3 dimensions to the 2 dimensions that a camera sees, close one eye. And then all of a sudden the trees, which before jumped out as being close and 3-dimensional, it stops doing that. And all of a sudden you're seeing like a camera sees. Okay. Alright, that was the first thing. Second thing is, don't assume that this is the best angle. Camera here, subject exactly here, and the framing's like this. Move around and look at it from different angles. Go slow, be quiet. Also see what it's like if the camera is low. Close any eye. Looks better from down here. Okay. Now, if we weren't shooting a video about how to do landscape photography, I would be quiet right now. I'd be waiting for something to speak to me. I've been here 100 times, Shingletown, Pennsylvania. So I know this spot really well, and I shot many photographs right here. Let me bring the camera up so you can see. Now I'm deciding where the camera should be. The photograph is down here. Photography is a subtractive medium, meaning we're deciding as much as what is going to be left out of the image as what's going to be in it. Okay, so deciding what we're going to leave out. One eye's closed. I'm not speaking normally. Trying not to think much. Trying to follow the heart more. Okay. Kind of like this tree over here and this rock and the leaves. Okay, let me get my camera. Back in a second. Now, let's see, where does the camera gonna be? It's gonna be a little low like this, so I'm gonna shorten down the tripod a little bit. I've got a Nikon camera and a big old Bogan tripod. Zoom lens. Turning on the camera. Putting it on live mode so I can see something on display. Take the lens cap off. Okay. I'm going to be quiet for a second here as I frame up the picture. I've got the camera squared up where I want it. First thing is the camera has to be level. Now there's a funny thing about big old digital cameras. When you get home with them, you can make corrections on the computer screen, and you'll want to have extra information around the edges because you're going to be doing some cropping or might be doing some perspective adjustment. And when you do that, it crops. The computer will crop. So if you know absolutely that you want this to be the photograph, take the photograph a little bigger, which is what I'm doing. So I zoomed out a little bit, and the whole subject is in the camera, and then some. Let's change the f-stop to make sure everything's in focus. Larger the f-stop number, smaller the aperture, the greater the depth of field. Okay. I dialed up f8. The exposure is one half of a second. ISO ASA is 200. I'll put it on self timer. So and then hit the shutter and take my hands off of it while it counts. That way there's no camera shake. There, took a photo. No camera shake at all. 1/2 second, that's a long exposure. Let's take a look. Since you have a digital camera, or a cell phone, which is digital, second step is to take a lot of photographs. Now you have to balance that shooting a lot of photographs with the being reflective and careful as you're shooting each photograph. Framing it, deciding what's in and out of the photograph, waiting for the subject to speak to you if you can, breathing deep, being quiet on the inside, all these things. Just don't go machine gun shooting. You're going to end up, you know what you're going to get if you do that. Going to be a lot of slightly missed photos, usually. Okay, so shoot a lot of photos, move around, put the camera down, walk around, look for another photo, and you can spend an hour or 2 hours just in this area right here if you wanted to. There's so much to see. The texture of the tree, plants, little ferns. There's a lot going on here, a lot of life. Okay. One thing I noticed is the photographs, the good ones, come when they want to come. You could be here for 5 minutes, and as soon as you arrive on the site, you get your good one, get your keeper. Or you could be here all day long and you don't get any good photographs. And that's how it works. But more often than not, it takes me a while to acclimate myself emotionally to the spot, to quiet down. And the photographs will come slow. The strong ones come a little bit slow. And they're quiet, and it can be sneaky usually, meaning they just pop out of the landscape at you suddenly. Sometimes nothing comes. But don't be discouraged. That's just how it works. Put your cell phone down, and you walk slowly up the path, along the creek, through the creek, in the creek. I take a lot of photographs in the water, by the way, with my waterproof boots. Standing in the water with the tripod in the water. It's a pretty cool perspective when you get down there, right there, 3 feet above the water. Sorry, we don't have enough time to talk about the technical aspects of the cameras. Desktops, shutter speeds, black and white or color, special effects. There's 100 different considerations with the camera. But that's really not what this is about. This is more about the most important thing, that is the seeing. That's the hardest part also. You don't even have to be successful and get a good, strong photograph. Just being out in the woods will be enough. Being quiet out in the woods will be enough. The goal is not to get a good photograph. As much as it is to be present in the moment. And if you're present or awake, something could happen. And that something is why we're here. But hold those reins loosely. It's peaceful here, isn't it? So this is a photography demonstration. In a seeing demonstration, you've shot 25 photographs or 125 photographs. As you're going to take them home on your camera and your cell phone, and you're going to look at them on your big monitor and then see how they look at home on the big monitor versus little images in the back of your cell phone or your camera. You'll notice that as a little bit of time passes, you'll see differently. And what you thought was the good strong photograph and the one that was most moving is not so anymore. And the next time we go out, you'll have had experience, and you'll know what's working and what's not working, and what mistakes you made, and mistakes you did not make. a lot of that's not up to us. Sometimes God has something to say about the way things go. Okay, well, the sun's starting to go down. I'm going to go home, make dinner.